Yo, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to yet another epic video. Now before we get into this one, you guys, I'm gonna need you guys to subscribe and leave a like because this one is already gonna be so epic. Today we're gonna be reviewing one of Mzansi's favorite 5-cylinders. Oh yes, you guys, I'm talking about the 2022 Audi RS3 8Y. Is powered by a 2.5 liter single turbocharged 5-cylinder, producing 294 kilowatts and 500 buff newton meters of torque. Now let's talk about the brand new design of the Audi RS3, and for that we're gonna start off with these matrix headlights. Now matrix headlights come standard in the brand new Audi RS3, and quite honestly these things look absolutely mean. The new RS3 does the whole light show dance thing that you just witnessed over there, where it goes RS3 and then shows that, which is actually a racing flag. I'm gonna be honest, it took me a little while to figure that out, but once I did, it's oddly rewarding to look at these headlights. The next design element we need to talk about is the brand new RS3 grille. Now this one is massive compared to the last generation RS3 grille, and Audi is not the only manufacturer to do massive grilles. However, we're not going to mention the other one because it really works so well on this car. The black accents around the grille that touch into the headlights really make this car look so mean and menacing in your mirrors. It also kind of makes it look like a mini R8 and a form of Iron Man, if you ask me. Now let's talk about the next thing about the car that I really like, and that is the side profile of the Audi RS3. Audi's completely redesigned the RS3 to make it look so much more aggressive. If we come in closer right here, we'll take a look at the front angle of this car, which has been flared out and given real working sights, because that's the first time I've seen that on an Audi RS3, and I'm very happy to see that. Moving over to the back of the car, you'll see that the same sort of fender flare has been added on here, giving it a sort of wide body look. Now when I saw this car in the dealership for the first time, I almost thought it was modified until I found out that this is genuinely how they come. Now let's talk about the wheels, tires and brakes. So the Audi RS3 8Y comes standard with the 4-piston 36mm disc brakes, and quite honestly it does what it needs to. However, for just a little bit more, 120,000 rand more, you can spec this car with carbon ceramics. The interesting thing about that though is you can't put carbon ceramics on all fours, only on the front wheels. So I want you guys to comment down below if you guys think it's actually necessary in an Audi RS3. Now on the topic of brakes, let's talk about tires. So the Audi RS3 8Y is supposed to come with P0s in South Africa. However, this has been a tad bit controversial because a lot of people, including this one, have received Bridgestone Potenzas. Now I need you guys to comment down below which you think is the better tire option. Now let's talk about the rear end of the Audi RS3 8Y. This is one of my favorite parts of the car to look at, you guys, as it looks so wide. If we come in closer over here, we'll take a look at these new redesigned tail lights. This LED and like this whole design going on at the back here looks really sick. And I mean, just look at that. Audi is the best with these little light dancey dances, I like to call them. Moving on to the rear bumper, you'll notice that Audi's carried on that whole design element of absolute thickness in this car, and this looks so menacing. A lot of us will be getting gapped by these, so having a nice rear end to look at is something that I really appreciate. Thank you, Audi. Now here's something very interesting that you guys might not know. Look at those tailpipes right there, right? This is the first time an Audi RS3 has had tailpipe tips connected to the bumper and not actually the exhaust. So yeah, that's a bit of an interesting one. Next time you look at this, the big thing you see is not actually the exhaust, it's just a tip glued onto the bumper. Again, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Now let's talk about the interior of the brand new Audi RS3 8Y. And for that, we're gonna start off in the driver's seat, looking at the steering wheel. So it's got a new redesigned steering wheel, and this one is spec'd in this perforated leather steering wheel. I believe you can get this in leather with Alcantara and all sorts of nice, crazy things. One thing to notice about this is it's indeed flat bottom, just like Audi RS steering wheels have been for a while. But a really cool thing is they finally put aluminium paddle shifters. A lot of people, including myself, were complaining about the plastic ones. However, now we have the aluminium option. But it comes at a downside. You know those nice ambient lighting that you used to get in the paddle shifters? Yeah, you can't get that anymore with the aluminium, but I think it's a small price to pay. Moving on to the center console, the Audi RS3 8Y comes with this digital display, and this one looks quite cool. However, the first thing you'll notice is the new tachometer. It's got this kind of like ladder or vertical tachometer for your revs, and it looks kind of weird. Look. I still don't know how I feel about that, and that brings me on to something I'll say a little bit later about the revving. I think you guys already know what it is. Why Audi? Why do we have rev limiters in these cars? But anyway, back to the center screen. It is quite configurable. So when you click the view button right here, you can see that you can scroll through a bunch of different settings that show different things. So this car has got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So when that's connected, you can actually get the full view of your map, your music, all sorts of different things, and that is a pretty cool touch. Now, as we continue to talk about the interior of the Audi RS3 8Y, we have to talk about one of the most controversial topics, and that is this right here. The gear selector, I guess I can call it. I missed the days when we used to be able to call this gear shifters or gear knobs, when it was actually a shifter or a knob. However, Audi has taken a step into the future and completely gotten rid of that. They've given us what I like to call the gear USB stick. This thing right here, I did not like when I first got into the car, and to be honest with you, I still don't really like it. And the main reason why I don't like it is because it makes one-handed driving, in manual of course, impossible. What I mean by that is, normally when you're shifting in manual, you have your hand on the selector right here and you shift up and down by pulling it up and down depending on the car you're in. However, with the gear USB selector, you can't do that, so you're forced to shift with both hands. Or as I've tried, with one hand shifting like that, which kind of gives you less control over the vehicle. So that is something worth noting if you're one of those one-handed manual driving people. That's not going to be easy to do in this car. The next thing we're going to talk about is, well, the rest of the car. Check this out. This car is spec'd with this ambient lighting feature right here, and this is really cool. I feel like this makes the whole interior of the car and gives the car a wholesome experience when you're driving it. Fun fact about that, however, is if you spec that part of your car with carbon fiber, you don't get ambient lighting. Why, Audi? In the back seats of the Audi RS3 8Y, and let's be honest, if you're watching this video and you want to buy this car, you're not going to be spending much time here for a good reason. It's not that spacious. See, I've got the front seat pushed forward. This is not in the position that I normally drive in. I'm 6'2", not the tallest of people, but also not on the short end. So if you've got friends that are tall that's buying an Audi RS3 8Y, just ask them nicely to push their seats a little bit forward. This brings me on to the whole interior feel of the RS3. Don't get me wrong, it's got a beautiful interior. I mean, we've got armrests right here with 2 cup holders for people in the back seat. All the material feels amazing. They've used the same material in the front seat as they have in the back seat. It comes with the stitching and all that. However, it still doesn't help make the RS3 feel less small. I get it, it's a hatchback, it's not a big car. But does this feel a bit smaller than the old generation? I kind of think so. Now, this is the first Audi RS3 that comes with torque rear. What is torque rear, you might ask? Torque rear is a mode in which you can put all the power to the rear wheels and you can get really sideways. Have I tried it? Not yet. So let me know down below in the comments if you'd like to see me sliding an RS3 around, and we can do that in a safe environment. But for tonight, you guys, we're just going to take this for a beautiful drive and see what the Audi RS3 8Y is all about. This is a place that many dream to be, and all for good reason. When you plant your foot down and you hear the sings of that beautiful 5-pot, oh my words, you guys start to understand why you see many RS3s on the road. You may not see many RS3 8Ys on the road, but all the different versions, the previous versions, the 8Vs, the 8V.2, you see lots of them on the road, and you wonder why people love them. Why do people use this platform for drag racing so much? Why do you just generally see them on the road? It's because it's a good car. it's a good car. There's no other way to put it. It's a really nice size, and as I did mention earlier below, that it does feel compact. It feels compact but not small, and that's the difference. You know, if you're using this for everyday city driving here in Joburg or whatever city you might be in, this is a perfect size, especially for someone my age. I don't yet have a family, you know, kids to put in the back seat. So all my friends that will find themselves in the back seats can do with a little bit of discomfort for all this performance. Now let's talk about performance wise. My foot has been flat for a little bit there. However, it's got a bit of turbo lag, but once those turbos kick in, the car really starts to haul. Once this car gets going and the turbos are spooled up and you're in the power band, honestly, you guys, you can lift off, go back on the throttle, and there'll be zero turbo lag. So that issue seems to only be once you start moving the car. This car's got 294 kilowatts and 500 newton meters of torque. Once you do put your foot down, you get reminded about all those power figures quite quickly. The back squats, the front end lifts up, and you start going from 0 to 100 in fast speeds. Let's test out the 0 to 100 in the Audi RS3. So it's quite simple. Plant your foot down on the brake, build boost, and let go. That's one hell of an aggressive launch right there. You feel the front end slipping a little bit and the car just gets going. After that little bit of traction loss, you just absolutely forget about anything called no traction. The car puts all of its horsepower ronies down quite well, which creates a 0 to 100 of 3.6 seconds. Okay, so how does the Audi RS3 drive in just normal conditions? So I've been driving this car for a little while, and I must say this is a beautiful car to drive. It's responsive. The steering wheel is dialed in just right. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, even in performance mode. The number one thing I love about the steering wheel is you feel everything. You feel the road, you feel what the car is doing, and that is something that unfortunately is starting to lack in many cars in the market right now. Normal city driving is quite interesting with the 8Y currently, at least, because there aren't many of them on the road. So everywhere you go, people are looking at you and you get so much attention. Does this get more attention than the G80 BMW M3? Not quite, but it's up there. Now, how's the Audi RS3 on South African roads? Well, we're on quite a bumpy road right now, and it's handling the bumps quite well. We're in performance mode, so everything is super stiff. One thing that really does help with getting you, well, with avoiding potholes, is these brand new matrix headlights, which shift and change all over the roads and allow you to see absolutely everything on the road surface. So the RS3 8Y has got updated suspension, which really allows you to take off like little bumps and nuances on the road, as well as corner quite efficiently and quite nimbly. The steering wheel is very accurate. It's point and shoot. You just know where the car's going to be at all times. It really makes you feel confident behind the wheel. But the biggest thing I must say is a South African based review. We know that all the roads in the country are not great, and this is definitely a car that you won't cringe when you go over all these type of bumpy roads like we're going over now. Especially with the car in a softer setting such as we are in now, you barely notice a lot of bumps. You do notice the potholes thanks to the laser lights at night, and it kind of allows you to feel more in control of the car. See, one thing that annoys me and other people on the road is when someone forgets to turn off their high beams. The matrix lights get rid of that problem because they sense a car coming and then they dim the lights down, and once it's clear to go and dark enough, they will automatically pop up and give you all the brightness in the world. Another really cool thing they do is when you put your indicator on to change lanes, it'll like kind of beam a light to the direction you're trying to change in to make sure you see all angles while lit. Okay, now let's talk about fuel efficiency. So most people that's looking at an Audi RS3 8Y are going to be upgrading from either the 8V2, 8V1, or even a Golf platform such as the 7R. And having driven both cars, I can safely say that the Audi RS3 8Y, if driven economically, will give you better fuel to the kilometer than the latter. However, when you put it in performance mode and you start getting all those horsepowers out, you will suffer a bit. But again, if you're buying this car, I don't really think that's something you really care about. This is the place that I feel like the Audi RS3 also kind of thrives in. That's if it's not on a racetrack or on a drag strip. See, urban city driving is built for this car. It's small and compact. You can see all corners of the car from the driver's seat, and you also just feel like you're in a vehicle that's easily manageable, unlike other sedans that we're not going to mention at the moment. In the city, the car blends in depending on the color that you got in. It's not too obnoxious. In performance mode as well with the factory exhaust, it's not too loud. Audi feeds in some of the sound from the speakers, which makes you feel like you're in a race car, but not everybody else. Now that we're outside the Audi RS3 8Y, we've taken it for a drive, we've taken a look at the interior and the exterior of the car. Now comes the burning question. is the 8Y worth upgrading to? Let's say you own an Audi RS3 8V or 8V.2. Is it worth spending the extra money to get the new boy on the block? Well, I'll say it depends on what you're looking for in a car. If you're the type of guy that wants all-wheel drive fun to put power down, kill everybody it drags, however you'd like to get a little bit sideways every now and then yeah, it's for you. If you're the type of person that lives in the city, you don't have much things to lug around, you need a nice hot hatchback to get to work fast, then yeah, it's for you. Are there cheaper alternatives to the Audi RS3 8Y? Hell yeah, they are. I mean, I listed all of them on screen right here. But again, it comes down to your preference. Do you like the styling of the new Audi RS3? Do you like the interior? Do you like the new features that they've added on? Personally, I have to answer yes to all those questions. However, if you had to ask me if I'm going to buy an Audi RS3 8Y anytime soon, personally, I think not. I think the 8V is still okay for me. I don't think the mods and the new upgrades they put on the new Audi RS3 8Y substantiate the new price point. Yes, the drift feature is cool. Yes, it's cool to get sideways every now and then, but let's be honest, it's not a true rear-wheel drive. Not all the power gets sent to the rear wheels. So if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to be fully thrilled with it. You can get power slides here and there, of course, but full-blown figure eights, full-blown drifting like you would in an M2 is not going to come out of the Audi RS3. However, if you're into all the new features, the bigger display, you know, the digital dash, the new design, then yeah, I would say upgrading to the Audi RS3 8Y is worth it. Personally, I need more time in this car. I need more time behind the wheel to give a better review. I need more time behind the wheel to tell you guys if that is truly something that you want in your garage. Ours is currently sitting at the shop getting modified, so as soon as that one gets back, I'll be able to give you all of that. I'll be able to give you a long-term owner's review. I'll be able to give you guys a modified review of the Audi RS3 8Y and tell you guys if it's worth even tinkering with your car. But as for now, if you don't have the money for one of those, I would 100% suggest you go and pick yourself up a previous gen Audi RS3 8V or even a TTRS if you're trying to get all those drag times in. But as for now, you guys, I'm gonna head back out on the street and take this thing out and get to know it a little bit more. But this has been my first impressions on the Audi RS3 8Y. Currently, I like it, but I hope to get to love it.